Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's get started in the interest of everyone's time. Welcome to our June Town Hall meeting. It's great to see so many familiar faces on this call this morning. I want to just do a quick introduction. Myself, I'm Stacey Evoy. Most of you know me. I'm the president of OREA. I'm joined this morning by Tanya Artenosi, president-elect of OREA, and Tim Hudak, CEO of OREA. We're also joined this morning by many OREA staff who have helped make this possible, so a big thanks to them. And we'll jump right in and get started. Just a couple quick housekeeping things off the top. If you could use the raise hand function on Zoom, we will call on you and we will have time for question and answer at the end. You also may use the chat function and type your question into the chat, and we will also answer those as we go along. Someone will monitor the chat, and then again, we will have Q&A at the end. Here's the agenda of what we're going to cover today. We've basically broken it down into 3 pieces. So we're first going to give you a GR update and talk to you about what's happening post-election, where OREA is going, and give you a TRESA update. Also, we're going to go through a member service review and survey that many of you took part in. We're going to update you on that. And then we're going to give you a glimpse of the fall and what's coming to you, Reality Plus in the fall, and some other exciting initiatives that are happening at OREA. So I'm first going to pass it over. Oh, so sorry, we're going to do a poll first. You'll have 30 seconds to answer the poll question, and then we'll show the results for you. So just to make sure the polling's working, what are you most excited about this summer? Warm weather and sunny days. Yes, the weatherman has been very confused lately between April and June, but I have a feeling we're going to get it today handed to us with what they're calling for in terms of weather today. So that's great. The polling is working. I'm now going to pass it over to Tim Hudak, who's going to walk us through the first portion of this morning and give us an update on the government relations front. Tim?
Thank you, President Stacey, President-elect Tanya, and folks, great to see you again, and best for the summer ahead. I'll give you a quick summary about the provincial election and what that's going to mean for all of us and for the clients that you work hard for each and every day. So as you all know, Premier Ford was very successful in the recent election campaign, and not only increasing the number of seats, which is the first time since 1955, I think, but also causing 2 opposition leaders to resign. That, as far as I know, is unprecedented. In their first term, we had a very good working relationship with the Ford government. We saw the most new homes built in over 30 years. So that was awesome. More work to be done for inventory, but at least heading in the right direction for a change. There are 2 pro homeownership bills, and I want to thank all of you, your GR teams, and our board of directors and our GR staff, because in both those pieces of legislation, they took an awful lot of OREA's recommendations. Matt Thornton, who's our VP, can correct me if I'm wrong, Stacey, but I think it was like 8 out of 10 of our recommendations were in that first piece of legislation. And coming from a family of 2 teachers who used to take out the red pen and correct what my real teachers missed, I will take 8 out of 10 any day. And there's more work to be done, but we saw a lot of red tape barriers knocked down. And of course, our TRESA legislation, which President Stacey will get to momentarily, had some major changes that she'll talk about as well. We were also successful in convincing the Ford government to make real estate an essential service. It wasn't business as usual during COVID, but you were there to help out your buyers and sellers cope with a very difficult time. And thank you for the leadership from our boards and the EOs and holding people steady during the COVID crisis. And the Trust and Real Estate Services Act was a long time coming, not since, 2002, the last bill was actually passed. When I was in the legislature and the minister. So important updates, and you'll get more info on that shortly. So a good first term for us, but there's more work to be done, as I said a couple of times. So here's what's the Ford government put on the agenda, the election campaign: streamlining the development approvals process, reducing costs, the red tape, and the runaround. The Premier and his housing ministry, you see there at our last AGM, spoke about that issue quite a bit. Creating a new community infrastructure and housing accelerator tool. The bottom line for that one is a municipality is moving forward new housing opportunities that people can afford. They can tap into a provincial fund to help that move forward and get critical infrastructure like roads, bridges, or water and sewer help. They have incentives in the most recent legislation for municipalities to turn over approvals more quickly and financial disincentives if they drag them out, including fines. And of course, greater consumer protection for newly purchased homes. We did push for higher standards when it comes to builders and condo developers. That's been accomplished. They're doing that now because we all know that Tarion was a bit of a joke. It was run by the builders. They're blowing it up and bringing in consumer protection measures similar to what realtors go to. And we'll talk more about auctioneers as the next step down the road. So that's their plan. What we put on the table and we're going to continue to push for, the Ford government did not have this in their election platform, but that's not a no for an answer. That means we need to work harder. So ending exclusionary zoning in near dense areas and high density areas, meaning that a single family home in a dense area or close to it could be redeveloped into multiple homes that people can actually afford, and eliminating the outdated auctioneer exemption that was meant as a loophole for farmers back in the day. I can tell you that because I was the guy that did it. So you can blame me, but we never contemplated the notion of sophisticated online auctioneers that my mom would think are a brokerage and subject to consumer protection initiatives. They're not. We're going to close that loophole. So here's what we had on our platform. We did rate the political parties on that, which you can see at our website. We wanted first-time home buyer help by doubling the land transfer tax rebate. I talked about exclusionary zoning. They have taken up partially our housing delivery fund. We're moving towards being North American leaders in regulation with the TRESA reforms. More work to be done. In fact, we put out media on this past week on getting dirty money out of real estate. Some really nasty stuff is exposed in BC. We think the same thing is happening in Canada, in Ontario, with drug dealers overseas, corrupt officials buying up a property and speeding up the land tribunal. That was our checklist. We'll continue to pursue. So now I'll pass it back to our president, Stacey Evoy, for an update on TRESA.
Before I jump into TRESA, I want to just thank some other directors that are on this call in their first 100 days on the job. So we have Kathy Poland from Northern Ontario, Donna Matthewson from Sarnia, Wasim Jara from York Region from TREB, and second year director Sandra O'Donoghue. So I'd also just like to extend a warm welcome to my colleagues. We'll jump into the TRESA. In terms of where have we been and where are we going? The task force is being led by past President Ray Ferris. And so where this is going, in phase one, we were going after the personal real estate courts. And if you're one of the 10,000 people who has a personal real estate corp, you can give yourself a pat on the back because OREA and staff worked very hard getting this to come. And many people have taken advantage of this in just under the last year and a half. The advertising rules were also changed under phase one, and that phase took place between May and October of 2020. It is interesting to note that this task force that started as the Reba Review Task Force got underway in 2017. So those folks have been at it for a while, and there's been a lot of heavy lifting on this committee. The next one, phase two, there was a part one of this, which was the code of ethics. And then part two of this was the offer process, disclosure obligations, RICO power and tools, the discipline committee, general regulations, and other exemptions. And this all took place and is underway right now from November 2021. This will have an implementation date, and this is no joke, on April 1st, 2023. So it's not an April Fool's joke. That's when it will be taking effect. And then we'll be jumping into phase three, and this is well underway. Covered under phase three is the auctioneer exemption, administrative penalties, so giving RICO more powers. We were looking to reduce some red tape with regards to registration, and we're looking for some specialty certification for registrants. You can expect that will get underway and will be through summer 2023. So I covered a bit of this in the last slide, but we led a 3-year consultation, research, and advocacy campaign to lobby for a new Reba, which all of you know we've had since the early 2000s. It's very outdated considering it doesn't mention a smartphone. We collected over 4,000 pieces of member feedback on changes and amendments, and that feedback was very great and beneficial to us in knowing what members were passionate about with regards to changes. We lobbied for the introduction of TRESA, and it passed with a 91-0, a unanimous. I don't think that happens very often. Tim could tell us about that. And so this work continues for us. It's one of the heaviest lifts that we'll do in 2022. We really want to get this right. And Matt and his team have worked super hard on this. And we're so close to the finish line, and we'll be happy to see this particular legislation come to fruition. So next steps, post June 2nd election. The auctioneer exemption will be our #1 priority, and that does fall under TRESA. Standard forms will undergo some major changes to implement the phase 2 regulations. The Government Relations Committee will be reviewing OREA's TRESA lobbying strategy, and the TRESA task force specifically will be doing all the policy work on phase 3 and getting that implemented. Okay, we have a poll question for you. So thinking about realtor advocacy at Queen's Park, below are OREA's GR committee's priorities. What is your top priority that you feel we should focus on? I feel like we need that music to go along with it. Okay, increasing housing supply. So ending exclusionary zoning came in on top at 35%. Followed by increasing professionalism. And we're sure hearing a lot about that on the street as well. So thank you for that. That's helpful to just know the people on the call and sort of what your feelings are on our GR initiative. So thank you for that. I'm next going to pass it over to our president-elect, Tanya Artenosi, and she's going to walk us through the next phase of member services and some survey and polling we've done. Thank you.
Thanks, President Evoy. Welcome, everyone. So let's get into it. OREA's 2022 product and service review is driven by our strategic plan to improve the value we deliver to members. That commitment to continuous improvement is even more important for OREA as the association transitions from an association focused on real estate education to one that is member-driven. That has been a major transition that began in 2017 to wind down the college and a new strategic plan to focus on our core products, advocacy, leadership, and standard forms. There we go. OREA's products and services review began with a simple question: how can OREA improve member value as an association? To answer those questions, we undertook 3 areas of research: activity-based costing exercise. That was done internally, where we analyzed an all-in costs for each product and service, including staff and program costs. A member survey, we surveyed 34 boards, 48 EOs and presidents, and then member survey, a survey of almost 4,000 members, the largest we've ever done. In terms of specific objectives, the review was looking to accomplish a few key things. First, measure awareness and satisfaction with our existing products and services. Second, evaluate the return on investments for those products and services. Third, prioritize our value offering and identify new areas of opportunity. Fourth, eliminate underperforming products and services. And finally, determine the best way to communicate with members and member boards. This is a great one. Some of the findings from our research. First, member boards gave us the highest marks overall on satisfaction, 89, I wish 98 would be nice, but 89%, a great grade. Member boards also rated OREA's products and services very high. All 6 areas over 90% satisfaction rate. A couple of areas that were among boards that had lower awareness were the commercial real estate services, the issue mobilization grant program, podcasts, and Ipso research. But overall, very strong feedback from boards on our product offerings. Finally, we asked boards, what should OREA's strategic priorities be as we head into the future? And as you can see here, the feedback is pretty clear. Boards want OREA to focus on core value offerings, forms, leadership, and government relations. Member value and conferences and events were of lower importance. The research revealed 3 key areas of action for OREA going forward. First, as an association, we have an opportunity to invest more of our resources in our mission, that is improving products to members. Second, OREA should look to narrow its current product focus. Right now, staff are delivering 28 products to members. The goal here is to narrow that down so that our resources are more focused on higher value products. Lastly, the research shows that OREA should double down, that is, invest more in what we do best. And in doing so, we can increase our value members, forms, advocacy, and leadership. And a new product area, member guidance, is something that stood out throughout COVID as a very valuable product to members and member boards. The board will be considering a business plan to continue that at a future meeting. In terms of the next steps, the board has received the initial report complete with recommendations from staff, and we've begun to implement some of them right now, including eliminating the Ontario Realtor Party, member mentee program, and the year in review. And we will continue to update boards on the progress related to the review at future town hall meetings. Now I'll pass it back to President Evoy for the fall 2022 preview.
Great, thank you, Tanya. I wanted to give everyone a glimpse of what will be coming to you in the fall. One of the most exciting initiatives will be released in September, and that is OREA's DEI report. So as you know, a few years back, under the leadership and guidance of past President Sean Morrison, OREA undertook the President's Advisory Task Force. This was to take a look at diversity, equity, and inclusion, and to see where problems existed. We knew that they did, but we needed data to support it so that we could really dig down deep. This committee and task force worked so hard for the past 2 years and came up with 19 recommendations that have come forward to the board. We've broken down those 19 recommendations into 3 pillars to just make it easy sort of to understand. So the 3 buckets are real estate industry, public policy, and OREA governance and operations. So under real estate industry, the goal is to engage key organizations in the real estate sector, realtors and consumers, to facilitate a real estate industry free of racism and discrimination. Number 2, public policy. The goal is to influence public policies and decision makers to address systemic racism and discrimination. And 3, OREA governance and operations. The goal here is to deliver equity, diversity, and inclusion into how OREA governs and operates, and model the change that we want to see. The information that's going to be coming forward to the boards in the fall is real information that you'll be able to take and use at your board. So many boards have reached out to us, have been excited about this research that we've undertook and what's coming forward. Many boards are starting DEI initiatives in their own boards. So we want to build on what you're already doing and provide you with tools, research, and information so that you can advance this at your own boards. And this is something that I'm personally very passionate about. So the release strategy for this: target audiences through a proactive multi-channel campaign. We want to demonstrate OREA's thought leadership for this report with the media. Our tactics will include a pre-launch technical briefing for local boards. So this is going to be really important to all of you. And then a launch, member and stakeholder communications with PR tactics that focus on a series of op-eds in the media. So the release timing for this is mid-September of this year. So watch for that. We're super excited about this and to see where we're going to go with this. So I have a poll question. This is specifically related to DEI. Within your local board, do you have any local initiatives happening in support of diversity, equity, and inclusion? I'll give you 30 seconds to answer this, and we're really interested to know what you have happening at your home boards. Okay, so this one's all over the map. It's pretty divided in quarters with yes, and we have a few sort of sharing 1 quarter to we're just getting started to no, but we're looking, and then nothing yet. So that one's pretty divided. I really hope that when you get this new information from OREA, this will be something that will be very useful to the boards. I speak to you personally when I say I'm happy to chat with you anytime about what you can roll out at local boards. And I know Matt and his team are there for you. They've worked so hard on this initiative, and we would love to see you be able to use all of this information and data back at your own boards. Next up, super exciting. We have our Reality Plus November 22nd to 23rd this year. It's being held at the old CNE grounds for those of you who went there as a kid. So it'll be exciting to go back there. It's an amazing conference and event center with, I hear, one of the best hotels in Ontario, the X Hotel. So we've rolled this out for you first, and you'll have about 48 hours beyond this call today to get your registrations in. We've opened it up to board leaders and executive officers and staff first, because we want to ensure you get in there before we open it up to the general public. I want to tell you a bit about Reality Plus, and it's so super exciting. It's the only conference in North America that combines the greatest minds in real estate, marketing, and politics all on one stage. It is a higher ticket price than previous years because conference costs have gone up. Speakers are going to be the best speakers you have ever seen on any stage in Canada, and we'll be rolling those out in the coming weeks and months. The first sneak peek of those went out about a week ago. There will be opportunities to network, learn, and celebrate with friends and colleagues. We're expecting triple the attendance of the last 2 conferences, and this conference was 100 years in the making, so don't miss it. It's going to be worth it. Here's a sneak peek for you at the 3 days and how the conference is going to roll out. So it's going to get started on Monday, November 1st. This will be the Realtor Advocacy Day that this year we're calling RAD. And I have a feeling this might stick. But for all those of you who have been around for a while, this was previously known as the OREA PAT Conference or ORP Conference. This day is going to be a free day, but you will need to register. And registration for this will happen in September 2022. So that's happening on the Monday. The Monday evening is the YPN Boost event. We're bringing this back after a few years of not being able to have anything to support our YPN. It's going to be held from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Beanfield Center. And it's going to be a great Gatsby themed event to take you back to 1922, 100 years ago when OREA was created. So that's super exciting. Day 2, the Tuesday, will be the first day of Reality Plus. It will run from 8:30 to 4 during the day. And that day will be filled with big names in real estate, marketing, and politics. Then that evening, we'll have the centennial birthday celebration from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. It will be at the Toronto Event Center. Switch from your business attire to your cocktail attire and join Tanya and I on the dance floor for a drink to celebrate our 100-year anniversary. Wednesday, November 23rd will be the second day of Reality Plus. And again, it's going to be like Tuesday, just with a whole new lineup of great speakers. The lineup of speakers, I just want to say, you know, it's mind-boggling. There, because of COVID, there's some details and loose ends that are just being wrapped up right now, which is why we aren't sharing all of them with you. But trust me, we'll be rolling them out in the next few weeks, and you'll be impressed for sure. Okay, and here's just a little rundown for you of the Reality Plus, how the registration is going to roll out. So last week we sent it to local boards, the board of directors, past presidents, and this was the registration launch. Just so you know, 2,200 people have pre-registered. So we will be eventually moving those people over from the pre-registration over to the registration. This week is when we'll hit them with the people who have pre-registered, and then we'll also be promoting this Friday at the Buzz Bash, so people will be able to register there. And then next week is on the 27th is when we'll open it up for all members to register. So just for you to note, again, I want to just say it one more time, 48 hours for all of you to register after this call today, before it will be opened up for more generalized registrations. And what we want to make sure of is that all of our key industry leaders and EOs, you know, volunteers, that they get in at the main hotel, because we will have 2 hotels for this event. I'm really looking forward to this. OREA's been working really hard under Natasha and her team. I know Luigi has been huge in this. We set a sponsorship goal of $500,000, and I'm pleased to tell you that already at this point we've surpassed that, and we're sitting at $536,000 in sponsorship. I thought it was really important to share this with you because of the ticket price being what it is this year. I want you to know that we're doing everything we can in terms of bringing in those sponsorship dollars and making this just a truly great event for you. Members. Okay, we know all the boards and EOs and local presidents and presidents-elect are wanting to hear more about this. This is something that's been underway for the past year, and it's taken some time just in terms of, you know, finessing the program and, you know, just flushing out the details, and we're this far away from it being completed. So what this is member boards may receive compensation in exchange for undertaking the delivery of new and enhanced services on OREA's behalf, designed to advance OREA's strategic goals and initiatives over the next 5 years. The 3 service areas include advocacy and research, enhancing realtor value, and professional development. Under advocacy and research, services in this area must be aligned with OREA's government relations and research initiatives. Some examples of services delivered by a member board on behalf of OREA might include promoting a legislative and regulatory environment that is favorable to realtors, real estate, or homeowners. 2, research on housing issues, realtor value, or building stronger communities. 3, research and advocacy that will help raise the profile of member boards and/or the public opinion for realtor members. 4, consumer research. Sorry, Whitney, can you go back? Sorry. Consumer research related to real estate. And 5, promotion of OREA government relations research in the media to members, other professions, or in the community. Enhancing realtor value. Under this banner, you could do an advertising campaign, print, radio, television, or social media. It includes media relations, member board initiatives that feature realtors engaged in philanthropy and volunteerism, partnerships with local research entities to show how realtors get more value for your home, and promoting OREA and other research on the value of a realtor. And under professional development, promotion of OREA's leadership program, promotion of OREA's standard forms and clauses, education and resources, courses designed to promote professionalism such as ethics training in the industry, enhancing professional standards, compliance, and discipline, and partner with other member boards to enhance professional standards and discipline. So here's a look at how the program breaks down. So it is a 5-year, it's a multi-prong approach. You can see each year it has about a little over 2.5 million. So it's costing approximately 12.5 million over 5 years. I want you to just understand a bit of where this came from. So as you know, OREA members pay their dues into OREA, but we know that boards are sort of the driving engine in terms of putting services back to members. So this is a way that boards can be creative and sort of come up with some ideas in terms of what they would like to do at the local level. They would have some funding over the next 5 years in order to be able to do this. As I said, we are just putting the finishing touches on this rollout, and we do expect this to be rolling out into the fall and before the end of 2022, just so that you know the timeline. There will be a master services agreement with each board. So moving on to a poll question. This is the last poll question, and we wanted to get you thinking on this one. Thinking about your role as a leader in organized real estate, what's keeping you up at night? Wow, almost tied. A lack of professionalism in the market, and then data sharing and MLS issues are almost tied, followed by government overreach, and then the real estate market decline, and on the bottom, relationships between member boards. This information is really helpful for us. On the lack of professionalism, I'll just speak on that quick since you're identifying that as a top issue. We feel that with the pandemic, this has just gotten a lot worse among members, and I, for one, as a working realtor, hope that this is one of the things that we're going to see start to rebound as our members get back together and, you know, they're belly to belly and face to face instead of sort of doing everything by Zoom. But everywhere that we're going across the province, I know Tim would also speak to this. This is one of the topics that we're hearing most about. So I can assure you it's on our radar. We spoke about this last week at our board of directors meeting, and it's something that we seriously all need to look at. So thank you for that. That's very helpful for us in going forward. We're now going to open it up for questions, and we're happy to take, oh, sorry, I have a couple more things. Sorry. There's an all-member webinar I just wanted to remind you of. It's happening tomorrow. It's on the new TRESA regulations, and it's an update briefing. So if you haven't already, please sign up for that. Again, that's happening tomorrow. And then if you want to save the date, our next Leader Town Hall will be happening on November 21st during the RAD days, so at the Reality Plus conference. So November 21st will be the next town hall. Okay, and I want to thank everyone for coming.